I've been on both sides of the spectrum, literally. I've had career goals that never happened. I've gotten fired from jobs, I've gotten laid off, or from a job, getting laid off before. I've had career pursuits that never really became anything significant. And I've also had business ventures that fell through. And I'll tell you this, the sting of those things not happening doesn't get any better when you're being told that failure is the key to success, or is the secret ingredient somehow to success. The unfortunate reality is failure doesn't really pay the bills. Now, I've took so many L's, my ego has taken so many hits, but that's what happens when you're really putting yourself out there and you're trying to pursue things that other people just aren't willing to pursue. You're trying to better your life. So how do you know when it's a good time to quit? And I'm not just talking about regarding your career or your job. Sometimes entrepreneurs have questions about quitting as well. When is it time to step away from your business ventures? You know, when is it time to say, you know what, I tried as hard as I could and it's time for me to let go and to quit? You know, how do you know? How does that look like? I personally have been in this situation on both ends of the spectrum. I have quit jobs and I've also quit businesses as well. So I want this video to serve as more of a realistic look at what it means to quit something. And that it's okay to do it sometimes. A lot of these motivational videos on, YouTube, and a lot of these, entrepreneurial gurus who are filthy rich, they'll tell you that, never quit no matter what, because if you quit, you're missing out on your potential success at the end of the rainbow. Like somehow if you quit, you're completely squandering your potential to be rich and successful in the future. And sometimes, if not a lot of the times, that's just not true. But they can tell you that because they've been able to somehow, to make that happen for themselves. And that's great, but it doesn't really happen that way for everybody. And I just want this to be more of a realistic look into that, because I'm somebody who's experienced this and I'm tired of the fake motivation when it comes to this, because not all of us come from the same backgrounds. Not all of us have the same, access to money or even to connections to get us to where we want to be. Not all of us are willing to lie and to scheme. And I'm not saying that everybody who becomes lies and schemes their way to success, but sometimes that is a part of it. Sometimes some people do. So I just want this to be more of a realistic look at when it's okay to quit with your career or with your business. So how do we know when it's time to let go? So just when you think you're going to be moving up in your career, or you're going to make a breakthrough in your business, and you realize that that goal never actually happens and never comes to fruition. So I've been on both sides of the spectrum, literally. I've had career goals that never happened. I've gotten fired from jobs, I've gotten laid off, or from a job, getting laid off before. I've had career pursuits that never really became anything significant. And I've also had business ventures that fell through. And I'll tell you this, the sting of those things not happening doesn't get any better when you're being told that failure is the key to success, or is the secret ingredient somehow to success. The unfortunate reality is failure doesn't really pay the bills, nor does it forgive our debts. That's just the reality of the world that we live in. As much as I'd love to sit here and give you a fluffed up pep talk about how you should never quit no matter how hard it gets, unfortunately, I'm not in the position of affluence where I can sit here and talk to you from my ivory tower somewhere. And I can say, see, I never quit and look where I am now. Unfortunately, I'm not in that position to tell you that, okay? The truth is, I've tried for years to start a business that could become a source of generational wealth for my family. And I never made a penny. I sure spent money though, a lot of it. Matter of fact, I tried to start several businesses and none of them made a profit. And it's not because I didn't try hard enough. I worked my behind off, even with a full-time job, for years. Every single day, okay? But then there was a moment after all that time that I had to sit down and truly ask myself, is this pursuit worth another year of investing money into? Do I have it in me to keep pumping money and energy into this dream without seeing a single result? And the answer to that was tough to swallow, because I bought into the never quitting mentality. And I knew that some of the stories that I heard from entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, were true. They did fail time and time again. And they did dish out thousands of dollars to never see a return on investment until many years later. But not every hopeful entrepreneur ends up successful, let alone regaining all the money that they lost. And unfortunately, well, I guess fortunately for my bank account, I was not willing to take that risk. And I mean, according to marketing gurus, when is it really okay to quit anyway? I mean, how many years does one have to invest in their dream before throwing in the towel without feeling like they bowed out too early, right before their breakthrough? One of the things about these marketing gurus is that they make their money off of hopium. They have to make it seem like you can possibly become successful and it's just going to take you some time. They have to make you believe that even though you're failing right now and you're not seeing a return on investment, that you will in the future, because that way you continue buying their courses, you continue investing money into their business, making them rich. That's just the way it goes. I mean, these gurus really feed into the FOMO, don't they? I mean, that was one of the main reasons why I continued my business ventures even after years of failure, because I felt like if I quit now, I'd miss out on my success later. But when I really sit here and think about it, it's a lot like gambling, isn't it? You keep pumping money into your dream machine, hoping you'll hit that jackpot one day, because you know that there are many people before you who have, only to not win anything and to lose all your money in the process. It doesn't always happen that way. I know it's a very bleak image that I'm trying to paint, but sometimes it happens. The truth is, sometimes quitting is the only way to put food on the table. And maybe not quitting completely, but definitely not putting as much energy into your dreams, energy and money into your dreams, because dreams don't really pay you until they actually become a business. So what I went through is I decided to quit my business pursuits, at least for a time, and that I would focus on my career goals. But then I became disappointed in those as well. Corporate America is cutthroat, all right? And if you don't have a seat at the table, you're either overworked, underpaid, or you're just constantly trying to float above water. You're trying to stay above water. I was tired of being disrespected. I was tired of them not really showing an appreciation for my skill set. I was tired of extending my energy into these businesses, into these companies, and not really seeing any sort of return for my work and for my efforts, for my skills. You just really are kind of like a number to these people in corporate America. So like I mentioned before, and unless you have a seat at the table, you're just a number. A number that you can't use to pay your bills after being discarded and let go like a scrap. I know that feeling all too well, and I don't really have anything good to say about the way corporate America is in the West. No encouragement about the rat race that we are forced to participate in, but I will say this. What you do about it, the actions that you take to not only see your dreams fully realized, but to finally be content with your life, depends solely on how you respond to failure. And failure doesn't have to necessarily be like you got fired from a job. It could just be that the job's not working out for you. You don't like the job. And so you feel like you failed because it's not what you had expected, okay? How you respond to that is what matters. This game that we call life is all about the pursuit of happiness, but no one really wants to talk about contentment. A few of us will truly realize their dreams. And for those people, you can say that they truly are happy for now. But what about those of us who try so hard for so long but never see their dreams come true? Do they not deserve to be happy too? Here's the encouraging part of this video. Happiness is most always dependent on outside forces, i.e. a good job, successful business, an ideal partner. But these things almost always end up not working out, or they just diminish over time. But if you can get comfortable with being content, okay, even if your life sucks at the moment, then you will be okay. Better than okay. You will be joyful even in the worst of times. Never obsessing about things that you don't have right now. Driving yourself crazy by comparing yourself to others. Sure, you may have failed at your business. You may have to quit your business. Sure, you may have been fired at your job, or you may have to quit. But there's always another business venture to pursue, another job to apply for. There's always another to go for, another something to go for. There's always another opportunity to move on to the next. Because failure isn't always a precursor to success, but what it can be is an indicator that it's time for you to start focusing your energy on something else, on other things, and to be content with where you are now. So when is it a good time to quit anything is when you've reached your own individual breaking point. If you own a business and you've already invested so much time into it that now you're in debt, and you know that you're lacking, additional income to kind of cover those losses. And it doesn't even have to get that bad. It could just be you feel like you've already invested enough money, then it's probably time to quit. Each of us has our own individual breaking points. So I can't really tell you exactly when is a good time to quit, but what I can tell you is when you feel like you've given something your all for as long as you could and you no longer have any emotional bandwidth left, then it's time to step away. I mean, you can't really be great at something if you no longer have that excitement or joy, you know, regardless of your return on investment for that thing. You know, like I've seen entrepreneurs work for years on their businesses to only have a negative ROI the entire time, but they kept working at it because they were passionate about it, they were excited about it, and they really truly believed in it. I would tell that person, continue going. If you still love what you're doing, you're still attached to it, then it's not time to quit yet. But if what you're doing brings you down, makes you depressed, turns you into a different person, if it maxes out your emotional bandwidth, and it just makes you kind of not excited or happy about even pursuing it anymore, it's probably a sign that you should step away. You'll really have to think about if you're still attached to your dream, or if the idea of quitting it actually sounds more exciting than continuing to pursue it. One thing that failure is great at is revealing our strengths and our ability to pivot. Sometimes we have this one-track mind where all we can think about is this dream that we idealize in our mind, and we can't really see anything else outside of that dream. You know, failure can actually cause us to realize that we're actually good or better at something else, and we didn't even realize it. And quitting that one thing may lead to other new things that you may not have even thought of before that actually may be better for you in the end. Because when something doesn't work out, it just doesn't work. You know, there's no need in forcing it for too long because, again, you may have other options that you're not even looking at, right? So quitting can unlock the door to other options. Take it from me. Do not spend your very last dollar on something that you have to force to make happen. It's better to accept that it won't happen so that you can move on to the next. You know, I started this YouTube channel after I failed at so many other things, but I leaned into things that I knew I was good at. You know, they may not have been as glamorous in my mind as my dreams were, but they actually just work for me. And I thought I'd never be monetized on this channel, but look, now I'm monetized. You know, it's a small milestone for something that wasn't really originally my dream, but because I quit pursuing the things that weren't working for me, I found something else that does. Now, I've took so many L's, my ego has taken so many hits, but that's what happens when you're really putting yourself out there and you're trying to pursue things that other people just aren't willing to pursue. You're trying to better your life. You know, failure is a part of the journey, and for some, it leads to their dreams coming true. And for others, it leads to new dreams and a different journey altogether. And there's nothing wrong with that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.